I arrived at the Grandview Hotel ballroom at exactly 6 p.m., 2 hours into my father's 62nd birthday celebration. The room was packed with family, friends, and business associates, all dressed in cocktail attire. I wore black slacks and a simple white blouse. Comfortable. Professional. Unremarkable. My stepmother Diane spotted me immediately from across the room. Her perfectly painted lips pressed into a thin line. "Nicole," she called out, waving me over with the hand that wasn't holding champagne. "There you are. Fashionably late as always." "Traffic was bad," I said simply. She looked me up and down, her expression making clear that my outfit didn't meet her standards. "Well, since you're finally here, make yourself useful. We're short-staffed tonight. Help the servers with the appetizer trays." I blinked. "You want me to serve food? Is that a problem?" Her voice had that sharp edge that dared me to argue. "Everyone here is contributing to make your father's party special. Surely you can manage to pass around some canapes." My half-brother Ryan, standing nearby with his wife, snorted into his drink. "Come on, sis. Don't you want to be helpful for once?" My half-sister Madison giggled. Maybe she could bus tables too. Get the full experience. I could have said no. Could have told them exactly who I was and what I did. Could have explained that I just spent the last 6 hours finalizing the biggest acquisition of my career. Instead I said, "Sure. Where are the trays?" Diane's eyebrows shot up slightly. She'd expected resistance. "Kitchen. The servers will show you what to do." I walked to the kitchen entrance, where a team of 12 servers was preparing the next round of appetizers. The head server, Maria, looked up in confusion as I entered. "Miss Sullivan? What are you doing back here?" "Helping out, apparently," I said quietly. "My stepmother thinks you're short-staffed." Maria's face flushed with anger. "We're not short-staffed. We have exactly the number of servers needed for an event this size. I don't understand why." "It's fine, Maria. Really. Let me help. It'll be interesting." She wanted to protest more, but I was technically her boss's boss, so she handed me a tray of smoked salmon canapes and showed me how to balance it properly. For the next 3 hours I circulated through my father's birthday party carrying trays. I served appetizers to my aunt and uncle who didn't even acknowledge my presence. I refilled champagne for my father's business partners, who looked through me like I was furniture. I cleared empty plates while my half-siblings made jokes about me finally finding my true calling. Diane made a show of thanking me loudly whenever I passed. "So helpful, Nicole. See, everyone, even my stepdaughter, is pitching in. What a team player." Ryan took a photo of me carrying a tray and posted it to social media with the caption, "Even family helps out at catering gigs, #humble beginnings, #family first." I smiled through all of it. Patient. Calm. Watching. Around 9 p.m. as I was clearing dessert plates, the kitchen door opened and my operations director Marcus stepped out, tablet in hand. He looked stressed and was scanning the room urgently. His eyes found me in my server's role, tray in hand, and he went pale. "Miss Sullivan," he said, approaching quickly. "I'm so sorry to interrupt your father's party, but the legal team needs to discuss the merger announcement scheduled for tomorrow morning. There's been a complication with the Riverside Properties acquisition." The conversations around us died instantly. My stepmother, who'd been holding court with her friends 15 feet away, whirled around. "What merger? What are you talking about?" Marcus looked confused. "The merger where Sullivan Hospitality acquires 6 more luxury venues, bringing our total." He stopped, glancing at me uncertainly. "Should I not discuss this here?" I set down my tray carefully on a nearby table and turned to face Diane. "No, it's fine. Let's discuss it." "Sullivan Hospitality?" Diane's voice was sharp. "That's your catering company?" "It's not a catering company," I said calmly. "It's a hospitality management corporation. We own and operate 23 luxury hotels and event venues across the East Coast. This acquisition will bring us to 29 properties." I turned to Marcus. "What's the complication?" "The Riverside owners want to accelerate the closing. They're asking if we can move up the final signing to tomorrow afternoon instead of next week." "Property valuations are complete?" "Yes. All due diligence is done. Legal just needs your final approval to proceed." "Approve it. Schedule the signing for 2 p.m. tomorrow. I'll be there." Thank you, Miss Sullivan. Marcus nodded and retreated back to the kitchen. The ballroom was completely silent. 60 people staring at me, the woman who just spent 3 hours serving them food. You own hotels? My father asked, his voice uncertain. 23 currently. 29 after tomorrow's acquisition closes. I pulled my phone from my pocket and opened my company portfolio. Sullivan Hospitality Group. Founded 11 years ago. Current annual revenue approximately $240 million. I held up my phone, showing the screen to anyone close enough to see. Company overview, property listings, financial summaries, all bearing my name as founder and CEO. But you're a caterer, Madison said weakly. I'm not a caterer. I've never been a caterer. I gestured around the ballroom. Though this venue is nice. The Grandview Hotel. Who owns it, Diane? She was staring at me with something between confusion and horror. I don't know. We rented it through a booking agency. Sullivan Hospitality owns it. We acquired the Grandview 3 years ago for $18 million. It's one of our flagship properties. Ryan's face had gone white. You're saying you own this hotel? This hotel, yes. Plus 22 others. And after tomorrow, 29. I looked around the room. The Riverside Country Club where Madison had her wedding last year? That's mine too. We bought it 6 months before her ceremony. The Belmont Conference Center where Dad's company holds quarterly board meetings? Also mine. The Ocean View Resort where you all vacationed last summer? Mine. Diane found her voice, though it came out strangled. That's not possible. You work in event planning or something. You've never mentioned owning hotels. I've mentioned it several times over the years, I corrected. You just weren't listening. 11 years ago when I bought my first property, a small boutique hotel in the Arts District, I invited everyone to the grand opening. None of you came. I pulled up an old photo on my phone. Me at 24 standing in front of the hotel, beaming with pride. Dad, you told me you were too busy with work. Diane, you said boutique hotels were risky investments for someone with no experience. My father's face was flushed. I don't remember. 8 years ago when I acquired my 5th property, I invited everyone to a celebration dinner. I wanted to share my success. Dad, you spent the entire meal talking about Ryan's new job at the marketing firm. When I tried to mention the acquisition, Diane changed the subject to Madison's engagement. I found another photo. A restaurant, a cake that said, "Congratulations on number 5, me sitting alone at a table set for 8. 5 years ago, I was featured in the Business Journal's 40 Under 40 list. I sent everyone the article. Not one of you mentioned it. I even brought physical copies to Christmas dinner. They sat on the gift table unopened. Madison was scrolling frantically on her phone. Oh my God. Sullivan Hospitality Group. It's all here. Nicole Sullivan, founder and CEO. Company valuation over $400 million. $437 million as of last quarter, I corrected. Though that will increase significantly with the new acquisitions. My Aunt Karen spoke up, her voice shaking. Why didn't you tell us? Why let us think you were just ordinary? I tried to tell you, I said. Repeatedly. But you'd decided who I was. The quiet stepdaughter who never quite fit in, who worked some vague job nobody cared to ask about. After a while I stopped correcting your assumptions. Diane had recovered some of her composure. So what, you let me order you around like a servant? You humiliated yourself serving food to prove some kind of point. I didn't humiliate myself. You humiliated yourself. I looked at her directly. You ordered the CEO of a $400 million company to serve canapés at her own father's birthday party. You posted photos on social media mocking me. You made jokes about me finding my true calling. Ryan had his phone out, frantically deleting his earlier post. Too late, I said. It's already screenshot and shared. Several business associates have already reached out asking if it's true that my family doesn't know what I do for a living. I turned to Maria, who'd been watching from the kitchen doorway. Maria, excellent job tonight. The service was impeccable. Please make sure the entire staff receives a 20% bonus for working my father's event. Bill it to my personal account. Yes, Miss Sullivan. Thank you. And Maria? You're getting a promotion. I want you managing the new Riverside property after the acquisition closes. We'll discuss details Monday. Her face lit up. Thank you, Miss Sullivan. I won't let you down. I turned back to my family. The Grandview typically charges $45,000 for a private event of this size. I've comped tonight's rental as my birthday gift to you, Dad. But I want to be clear. I own this venue. I own the company that prepared this food. I own the coordination service that planned this party. Everything you're enjoying tonight exists because of a business I built while you were busy assuming I was failing. My father stepped forward, his face a mixture of shame and confusion. Nicole, I don't understand. Why didn't you make us understand? Because you never asked, Dad. In 11 years, not once did you ask to visit my office, meet my team, or see a property I was working on. You'd ask, how's work, in that vague way that expected a one-word answer, and when I'd try to elaborate, you'd check your phone or change the subject. I thought you were working for an event planning company, he protested weakly. I ran an event planning company for 3 months when I was 23, as an internship while I saved money for my first property down payment. That was 11 years ago, Dad. 11 years, and you still thought that's what I did because you never bothered to ask for an update. Diane was staring at her champagne glass as if it held answers. The catering tonight. The servers. You let me treat you like someone who worked for me? I finished. Yes. I wanted to see how far you'd go. Turns out pretty far. You had your stepdaughter, a woman who owns more than 24 hotels, serving drinks to your friends so you could feel superior. Marcus appeared again, this time with 3 members of my executive team. They all looked awkward standing in the ballroom while my family stared. Miss Sullivan, I'm sorry, but the Riverside owners are on the phone. They want to discuss the timeline. Put them on speaker, I said. Everyone here might as well hear this. Marcus tapped his tablet and a voice came through. Miss Sullivan? This is James Riverside. My family is eager to finalize the sale. We'd like to move forward tomorrow if possible. The 6 properties, the country club, the boutique hotel, the 2 event venues, and the 2 restaurants. Final sale price is $82 million, correct? Correct. We're prepared to accept your terms. Good. My legal team will have the final papers ready by noon tomorrow. We'll sign at 2 p.m. The funds will transfer immediately upon signing. Excellent. Thank you, Miss Sullivan. Our family has worked with many buyers over the years, but your professionalism and vision for the properties gives us confidence we're making the right choice. I appreciate that, Mr. Riverside. I'll see you tomorrow. Marcus ended the call. The executive team was trying very hard not to smile at my family's shocked expressions. $82 million, Ryan repeated numbly. You're spending $82 million. I'm investing $82 million in properties that will generate approximately $14 million annually in combined revenue. It's a good deal. Madison found her voice. How do you have $82 million? I built a successful company, I said simply. I started with a $50,000 loan from Grandma Sullivan before she died. Remember her? Dad's mother, who you all said wasted her money on me. I bought a rundown hotel, renovated it myself, made it profitable, and used the revenue to buy the next property. Then the next. I reinvested every dollar for 8 years before I started paying myself a real salary. I looked at my father. You called it a waste when Grandma left me that money. You said I should have invested it properly instead of playing business. He had no response to that. The event planning internship you thought was my career? That was me learning the industry from the ground up. The little office downtown I worked from? That was my first corporate headquarters. The business trips I took that you never asked about? Those were property acquisitions and investor meetings. I gestured to my executive team. This is Marcus, my chief operations officer. David, my head of acquisitions. They run the day-to-day operations of a company that employs over 4,000 people across 29 properties. 4,000 people, my father whispered. They depend on me for their livelihoods, their healthcare, their retirement plans, their children's futures, all connected to a company that my own family didn't know I owned. Diane finally looked up from her champagne. What do you want from us, Nicole? An apology? Congratulations? What? I don't want anything, I said honestly. I wanted you to see me. Really see me. Not the version you'd created in your heads, the quiet stepdaughter who didn't matter, but the actual person I am. Apparently, it took me serving you food for 3 hours to make that happen. My father moved toward me, his hand outstretched. Sweetheart, I'm so sorry. I failed you. As a father, I completely failed you. Yes, I agreed. You did. But I didn't need you to build this. I did it anyway. Can we start over? He asked. Can I get to know the daughter I apparently never really saw? I considered him for a long moment. This man who'd missed 11 years of my success because he was too busy to pay attention. Maybe, I said finally. But it starts with actually asking questions and listening to the answers. It starts with caring enough to show up when I invite you to things. It starts with treating me like I matter. You do matter, he said, and there were tears in his eyes now. God, Nicole, you've always mattered. I just couldn't see past my own assumptions. Marcus cleared his throat apologetically. Miss Sullivan, we really should go. The legal team is waiting and you have the investor call at midnight. Of course. I turned to my father. Happy birthday, Dad. I hope it was everything you wanted. Wait, Diane said suddenly. You're leaving. I have work. The acquisition closes tomorrow. I have about 16 hours of preparation to do before that happens. But we need to talk about this, she insisted. About everything. You've talked. You've learned I'm not who you thought I was. What else is there to say? Ryan stepped forward. I posted that photo. I made fun of you online. I need to apologize publicly. Then do that, I said. Post whatever you want. But do it because it's right, not because you found out I'm wealthy. I looked around the ballroom one last time. Enjoy the rest of the party. Everything's paid for. The hotel staff will take care of cleanup. Dad. Next year, if you want to celebrate your birthday, just ask me. I own plenty of venues that would be perfect. As I walked toward the exit with my team, my father called out, Sunday dinner. Next week. Will you come? Please. I paused at the doorway. I'll think about it. Call me this week. Actually call and have a real conversation. Then maybe. I will, he promised. I absolutely will. Outside, Marcus handed me my briefcase from his car. That was intense, Miss Sullivan. That was necessary, I corrected. 11 years overdue but necessary. My phone buzzed. A text from my father. I'm proud of you, Nicole. I should have said that years ago. I'm saying it now. Then Ryan, I'm sorry. For everything. You're incredible. And finally, surprisingly, from Diane, I underestimated you completely. I'd like to understand who you really are if you'll let me. I smiled and put my phone away. Tomorrow would bring the acquisition, the investor calls, the endless work of running an empire. But tonight I sat with the satisfaction of finally being seen. Not as the quiet stepdaughter or the helpful server. But as Nicole Sullivan, hospitality mogul and self-made success. They just hadn't been paying attention. Now they had no choice but to see.